In this video, I ran Oil Rig 100 times on official vanilla servers. Arguably Rust's most profitable monument, but I wasn't the best at it. These 100 runs would hopefully change that, and I will be teaching you guys everything that I learned. Starting with run number 1. For this run, I only had a pump shotgun. I'm solo just like every other run in this video, and I'm headed over to small oil rig. Now, when you swim to small oil rig, there are 3 ways that you can board. First, you have the dock, but players often leave this scientist alive at the bottom, and it can be quite visible from the top floor. Second, you have the moon pool, which will have no scientists and always will allow you to quietly board, but because of these ladders, it's very easy to get grubbed going here. And finally, you have the ladder. This option leaves you with the most potential routes, but only works if scientists are cleared out across all of the floors above it. And for run number 1, I snuck on board using the moon pool, and before I knew it, I heard a large group lurking around above me. Now, the biggest issue when you go moonpool comes at this point, because the only way for me to get out now is to open this door, which will make a sound cue letting everybody know that I'm here. And with my presence being known, I now have to figure out a way to get up onto the top floor and close enough to make a play with this pumpy.
Dude, I don't know how I can get up there. There's like 3 of them. Like the helipad guy will see me if I jump up here. If I do this, I'm gonna make noise and get spotted. I think these stairs here are like my only option, but it's such a bad option. Oh my god. I just full sent that, no turning back.
I'd now gotten myself into the perfect position to make a play. There was just one issue. I was completely stuck. No, I was stuck, man! No! Unfortunately, this run wasn't a success. Later on in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys runs with some of the craziest plays I have ever made in Rust. But right now, I needed to make a play to get some things going, and that wasn't going to be so easy.
Oh, that's fun.
On run number 3, I farmed up a bit of loot, but nobody came to fight. And then on run number 4, my bad luck continued.
No way. No, he got me from all the way up there.
I came right back for run number 5 and tried to board from the ladder, but things didn't go much better.
Dude, they double peeked me.
And this is why you don't go dark when the scientist is still alive.
Oh, and they're still on.
It really wasn't until run number 7 that I had my first chance to turn things around.
Oh my god, somebody was just hiding here. Ooh, mini coming. Oh my god, please tell me they didn't see me. Oh, they double pushed me. I killed one.
Run 7 may have not succeeded, but with 1 dead, I could come back and try to make a quick play.
Ooh, what? Wait, that's huge. Let's go! Oh my god, let's go. That is so big. Oh.
This was exactly the type of come up I needed. I got my hands on plenty of guns, and I was even able to use their mini to depot all this before the crate pop. I then came back to loot it and headed home for my first successful run of this video. Next up is run number 9, which is when I experienced my first major issue of these runs. Everything started off good. I boarded with an AK and cleared out the scientists. I killed tons of players, including some pretty geared ones, cleared out the heavies, and then even killed some grubs that tried to board. But when it was time to leave, this happened. I had completely fumbled my escape here. And the biggest issue actually came from the way that I was storing my loot. A lot of my best loot was actually in my backpack here, meaning that if I wanted to put on a scuba tank to swim away underwater, I would have to throw out the backpack. This was a huge mistake because it put me in a spot where I tried to go for this boat instead of just jumping off the rig. In my future runs, I would leave all of my best loot in my inventory and then just jump off rig. And if I did get shot at, I would just throw my backpack out and put on a scuba tank. This strategy would pretty much guarantee that I could at least swim away, because when you're doing solo rig runs, you just can't always fully hold down the entire oil rig. There's always a chance somebody could be sneaking around. For run number 10, I headed over to large oil rig, but I didn't last too long.
No, I whiffed it.
For run number 11, I was back on small and things started out pretty good. I cleaned up this grub that was holding the ladder, then I made a play on one of the members of the group holding down the top floor, but I made a mistake by repushing the same spot and got myself killed here. Thankfully, the crate still had a lot of time on it, so I came right back with another kit to try and make another play.
No.
Not the best comeback, but 13 was looking insane. I killed these two full kits, but then this happened. At this moment, I probably should have just left with the kits that I got, but I stayed to try and fight it.
Oh, he was camping the vent. No.
Run 14 didn't go much better. I had a perfect position on large oil rig to sneak up behind the guy on top the crane, but I gave myself away by allowing the scientist to aggro on me, and that made this guy aware and allowed him to make this play. Run number 15 was an interesting learning experience. A full group of children pulled up, and I kind of buckled under the pressure. When getting pushed by this many people, retreating to a spot like helipad really left me out in the open here. It gave me almost no cover, and there were way too many angles they could peek me from. This ultimately led to my death. Overall, these early runs could best be described as me getting comfortable going oil rig. It's not something that I normally push myself to do in wipes, and it took me a bit of losing here to really get the hang of it. And I was gonna need to get the hang of it because the next server I was gonna be playing on was Restoria Monday with 1,000 other players on wipe day. It was going to be a big step up from the 200 to 300 pop that I had been playing on up to this point.
Oh my. 2 AKs and a bolt?
Some of these runs had some pretty interesting moments like this one.
What was that? What were they doing there?
Run number 19 took place only a couple minutes later, and I boarded ladder knowing that all the scientists were still on. At this point, I was starting to gain a bit of confidence, so I knew if I could just kill the scientists myself, I could sneak up and clear out the door room.
Alright.
After this, the rest of the run was pretty easy. I killed one guy that came to counter and then looted the crate and left. At this point, I was starting to get pretty comfortable with small oil rig, so I headed over to large for more of a challenge.
Alright, we made it out. Let's go. What an insane run. Our first win on large oil rig. Let's go.
I was feeling unstoppable after that run, so I immediately headed over to small oil rig to counter. At this point, everything was going my way, at least until I got a little too overconfident in this mini here. But my final few runs on this server went pretty smoothly, and at this point, I was definitely ready to increase the difficulty of these runs, and the only way to do that would be to up the pop. So at this point, I would be switching over to Restoria Monday with 800 other players on wipe day. playing on a high pop server brings in an entirely new set of challenges. The main two being more people at the oil rigs and better players at the oil rigs, especially when you're playing on wipe day. For my first run on this server, I didn't even make it onto the oil rig. This server was quite the shocking transition, but I now had 25 runs under my belt. I was ready to take on the increased challenge.
Oh, I got a boat. 2 guys.
Just hand over oil. Hand it over. And let's go smoothly for you.
No, the lag. The lag, dude! I can't!
There's just one more issue with high pop servers. They can be laggy as hell, and that completely lost me this run. But I quickly came back to try and get some revenge.
Oh my god. It's the same guys. This might be worth leaving with. I mean, this is so much. I'm gonna take my win. I could depot this with the boat and then come back for another run. What the fuck? Where was that angle?
One thing that I noticed right away when switching to this server was a variety in brand new strategies that I hadn't faced yet. Like, just look at the way that these guys were playing in the water here.
Oh my god, I hear multiple people around me. Oh, here we go. Oh, they have spear guns? Somebody's nading this? Oh, he's got a pumpy. No! Dude, they had spear guns and nades. Okay, they were way more prepared than I was. What was that?
I wasn't really coming out on top of any of these runs, but I was still very early on into the 100 runs. I could afford to lose lots of these and just take what I can to learn. This wasn't going to be the only high pop server I would play on in this video. So even though I had a pretty bad stretch of runs here, I still came out with a lot of knowledge learned. And it was at this point in time that my base even got offline rated. So I decided to switch over to a different server. This time I would be playing on Rustoria Long, which might not have a pop just as high as Rustoria Monday, but this server was full of massive clans. I knew the action on the oil rigs would still be insane over here. Run 32 was my first run on this server, and I didn't have any keycards yet, so I left early with an inventory of good loot. On run 33, I heard somebody taking heavies and knew I was in for a fight. I killed one guy lurking around and actually got quite a bit of loot off of him, and then I spotted the last player up in a position that was going to be kind of tough to deal with. We ended up getting into a long back and forth fight, and I just couldn't really find a good spot to fight this guy from, but eventually I killed this scientist and got an AK off of him. That made the rest of this run pretty easy. My next run didn't last too long. I got jumped by some divers right away, and then I didn't have the best success boarding.
Oh my god, I almost just made a crazy play.
Run 35 was just as amazing. Run 36 was my quickest win. I killed these two players right after boarding and just immediately left with all the loot. But run 37 didn't go nearly as good.
Oh, that's an M4. I thought it was a spaz.
Run 38 was definitely my most successful run so far on this server. It was the first time I really experienced holding down an oil rig on a high pop server, and man was it addicting. There was so much action on this run. I ended up killing so many people that I just left before the crate popped because my inventory was unreal.
What a run.
Run 39 was looking equally exciting. I killed a couple people trying to come from boats, and then I made some easy plays on people trying to board from the ladder, but I must have let somebody sneak past me during all the noise, and I got killed from an unexpected angle.
Where was that from?
For run number 40, I headed over to large oil rig. I didn't bring much, but I immediately made this play to get myself an AK, and that allowed me to clean up this team, but I think I got pretty unlucky here because I just died while looking in my inventory. For 41, I heard two people on and climbed to the top of this spot. It's actually a super good position to go to as a solo because people just never seem to look up here, and that allowed me to pretty easily win this rig. At least that was until I jumped into the water and landed on two people with spear guns waiting for me. Probably the most unlucky ending of any run in this entire video. Thankfully, run 42 more than made up for it. A great run, and I even managed to come back to clean up the rest of the players and loot the crate. 44 was an unlucky moonpool death, then 45 was one of my most intense runs yet.
Oh my god. Best rig run of the wipe. Like, I don't even understand how we came out on top of that.
On run 46, I almost made an insane play in the moonpool here. I was just barely killed through the cracks. I came right back though, and my positioning was just too clean for this guy to handle. I was getting really comfortable moving around oil rig during fights, and I killed him and got all of the remaining loot. For 48, I was back to abusing this spot up top, and then I just cleaned up the remaining players and got out with a good inventory of loot. I was having a lot of success here. When you're having a lot of success, the raiders always end up coming. So I was back to square one for run 49, and I would be switching the server up. On this server, I was also going to be building next to large oil rigs, so most of my runs would be there this wipe. This first run was almost an insane come up, but this guy barely got the better of me. Run 50 couldn't have been a worse midway point for this challenge. I couldn't seem to get much going outside of oil rig on this server, so I was back with only 2 Ayokas and almost made the play of the video. Coming to rig with bad weapons like this can often be a waste of time, but every once in a while you get that little bit of luck that makes it all worth it.
Oh my god. No, I saw him last second.
I barely lost that run, which put me back to square one, and that led to a bad spree of runs.
Oh my god, okay. What?
After all my suffering, I was finally gifted a free kill, and at this point I just took what I could get and got the hell out of there. Unfortunately, my luck didn't continue long. This was just a sad period in the runs. Like, look at this death.
No, there's one above.
You often have to experience the worst of things before you get to the best, and run 59 was gonna give me a chance to experience that best.
Alright, it begins. Oh, what the... Oh my god!
I had just killed 5 people from this group, and let's just say the loot they had was unreal. After so many losses on this wipe, I needed this. But this story doesn't have the most happy of endings, because immediately after making this play, this group was so mad they tracked me down and raided me. I got out with some guns, but they even managed to raid the next base that I built. I wanted revenge, but I had no idea where these guys lived, so I was gonna have to wait, and hopefully I can meet them again on the rig. Run 60 was a narrow loss, but the same couldn't be said about Run 61. I did not expect 3 people to be up there. Run 62 was a quick win that gave me some extra kits that I took home. On 63, I started making use of one of the best grub strategies on large oil rig. To copy this, all you need to do is take this exact pathing when you leave Moonpool. You may have to run past a couple scientists here, but this will allow you to get all the way into secret without killing any scientists, leaving no trace behind you. And then you can wait in secret for somebody else to come and call in heavies. And once they call in heavies, you can easily sneak up behind the most common spot people kill heavies from on top of crane here, and while they're distracted you can pretty much make the easiest play of your life. At this point you could either leave with the gear, or you could try to fight to win the entire oil rig.
No! What is that?
Unfortunately, that run ended in almost the worst way possible, and I was now addicted to this strategy. I was going to be trying it over and over again until I could replicate that success.
No, they're both up there.
The strategy is far from a guarantee though. You have to perfectly time these pushes. On run 65, I managed to sneak my way all the way into the crate room, but I guess these guys were aware of it and I narrowly lost this fight. On run 66, I managed to do the same thing, but I don't think there was any world where I was winning this fight. For run 67, I was back to doing my grub strat. I managed to get a clean kill on the guy on top crane, and then I farmed the rest of the heavies and waited out the crate. On run 68, I got absolutely demolished by this heavy.
What?
On 69, I completely embarrassed this guy holding down the moon pool entrance. I then got into a back and forth fight with the rest of his team, but in the end, I made an aggressive push here and caught one of them off guard, and then finished the other one off with my M4 shotgun. The loot was pretty good, so after this fight, I went home. For run 70, I brought scuba goggles and spotted this guy through the glass window here. I think that made him panic and he tried to push out and fight me in the water, but this ended up being his downfall and I got a pretty easy kill on him here. And that's also when I recognized the name. This guy was a part of the group that I 1v5'd earlier and that then came and raided me. This was my chance for revenge. Unfortunately, I got shot in the back while fighting a heavy scientist here, but that wasn't gonna stop me. I came right back. This rat was still camping the moon pool entrance, but I made quick work of him.
How do you mess that up? It's the same guy.
I then killed one trying to flee on a boat. I killed another trying to hold down the dock from the top floor. I killed a clueless player just jumping around. And then I made light work of the rest of their team. I even put a mag of ammo into their submarine to stop them from camping the bodies in the water. I had now completely embarrassed this group 2 times. I felt satisfied with my revenge, but that didn't stop them from coming in raiding every base in my area until they found me again. This was just one of those groups, and there wasn't too much I could do about it. So for run 72, I was back to doing my grub strat. This time I heard some people on the lower levels and tried to make a play there, but completely fumbled it. I couldn't let anyone who witnessed that fumble live, so I hurried back to clean up everybody that was remaining. I killed some guy that seemingly couldn't stop staring at the ocean. At this point in my wipe, I still didn't have many guns, so getting all these kills was huge for me. I even managed to kill some of these guys in the water, and after swimming out and looting their stuff, I headed home. Run 74, run 75, run 76 was a close one. I killed this guy on the crane, but then got killed by somebody hiding. I don't know why, but I just couldn't catch a break here. I was down to my last kit, so on run 78, when I found a body of free loot, I decided to just go home with it. On run 79, I got blasted by a moon pool camper and then bled out in the water. This was probably my most troubling period in all of the 100 runs. I like to think that this was Oil Rig throwing everything it had left at me, and after experiencing pretty much every unlucky event possible, I would finally come out on top of all of this. I also made my final server switch during this time, and I would be closing out the 100 runs on Restoria Main, probably the hardest server that North America has to offer, but what better way to end out the video. 83 was a great start to this server. I only had to kill one guy, and then I just cleaned up the heavies and looted the crate. On run 84, I used my Python from the last run to jump this guy, and once I realized how much loot he was carrying in his backpack, I got out of there. But I came right back and killed a guy just after he looted the crate. For run 86, I boarded from the ladder, but I forgot to clear a pretty common spot that people camp ladder from. On run 87, I killed a full kit that was holding down the moon pool door, and then I killed his teammate and even made some pretty crazy plays on some of the people that were trying to come from ladder. I was just really feeling it at this point, and I was full swinging on everybody that came to me. On run 88, I dealt with my least favorite type of player, the moon pool camper, and then I killed the heavies and defended rig from a small group that came to counter. My loot was really starting to pile up at this point. On 89, I didn't have a key card, so I waited behind crane for somebody else to come, and then I got a pretty cheesy kill from up here, cleared out the heavies myself, killed one guy that came to counter, and looted the crate for one of my easiest runs. Run 90 marked the beginning of my final 10 runs. At this point, I was playing on one of Rust's hardest servers, and I wasn't losing any of my runs. I was on track to complete these 100 runs with utter domination. On run 91, I killed a guy that was taking heavies, then I scared away somebody in a mini, or at least I thought that I did, but they came back, and I couldn't have gotten more of a free kill on them. On my next run, I was just running around with full confidence when this guy tried to kill me. I then scared off yet another mini, and this time they didn't come back. I also gave this guy a heart attack in the moon pool. and then looted one of the best crates possible from Oil Rig. Things were just going so good. Even in situations where I should have died, I was just coming out on top. Run 93 was just an amazing run. I killed so many people, and then even got 2 AKs from the crate. On run 94, I heard a group coming up the ladders, and I managed to make an insane play, killing 3 AK full kits here. On run 95, I took heavies and didn't have anybody else come to try to counter. On 96, I made quick work of this group of 3, and then stole their crate loot from them.
Another AK.
For run 97, I only had to kill a couple of grubs before I got my crate loot. I like to think that I was dominating Oil Rig so hard at this point that people stopped coming. But on 98, I finally got humbled. I came right back to try and get my revenge, but running around on Oil Rig while tilted is not the best thing to do. And now we have finally reached run 100. For this run, I decided to go back to my roots and just bring a DB to Oil Rig. Things started off smoothly as I boarded Moonpool without being camped. I then made my way up the ladders and was greeted with an open door. This is the best case scenario when you're trying to grub with just a shotgun. I now needed to sneak my way around and find somebody to kill. I almost pulled it off, but unfortunately that's where our 100 runs comes to an end. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned some things from these 100 runs, and if you would like to see more content like this, leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.